What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Nursing Uncharted, the podcast that delves into all the different ways that we can use this license. We go into advanced practice degrees, outpatient, inpatient. We cover it all here. Thank you so much for being with us today. This episode is sponsored by AMN Passport. AMN Passport is an app that AMN has created. It's a travel healthcare's highest rated mobile app, and it helps you find assignments, book assignments, and manage assignments all from your phone, which puts you on the fast track to your next travel job. You receive instant job match notifications when you download AMN Passport today. So today we are getting into an advanced practice degree, which is always cool because a lot of us think about going back to school, and that's DNP programs, Doctorate of Nursing Practice. And so here to talk about that with me is Nurse Allyson Pennington. Allyson, she's an RN BSN. She got her BSN in 2019. So she's been a nurse for 4 years. She actually started on labor and delivery and then moved to medical ICU during COVID. So COVID ICU mix. And now she's back in school getting her master's and her doctorate to become a nurse practitioner. She also has a YouTube channel that is becoming really popular. She vlogs about her life, and an Instagram account where she showcases coffee and baking creations, and it's her cat's Instagram. So you can find her at Allyson Pennington, and her cat's Instagram is OllyP Cafe, and we'll link those accounts below. So Allyson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Maggie, for having me.
Did you ever think that you and your cat would be like, content creation, Insta famous?
Absolutely not. Honestly, I started it. I was sitting on the couch bored over Christmas break, and I was just baking all these Christmas cookies, and I decided to put them on an Instagram, and look at us now.
Yeah, famous.
Famous.
Well, thank you for coming on to talk to me about DNP school. So,
absolutely.
How is DNP school going right now? Like, how is it going?
It's going, thank goodness. But so I started back in the fall of this year, or of what year is that? 2022. And the transition from a full-time worker to a full-time student was absolutely insane to me. Kind of as an ICU nurse, we are constantly moving. It is so fast-paced.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that the transition from my own pace, moving quickly, having all those critical thinking skills, would move towards the academic setting where I sit in a chair all day and I can't move. So that has been a secret challenge that I wasn't necessarily expecting. But we're getting through it. I'm getting through it, one day at a time.
Did you feel like did you know what you were going into? Like, is it as what you expected it would be, or is it kind of, when you thought of going back to school, is it what you thought it would be, or is it different?
I had a rough draft in my head of what it would be. And when I started the program, it was a lot different, where it was the same, you go to class, you do your assignments, you submit them, fun. But when I started, I didn't realize and recognize the people around me would be a lot different. Like, no one's in my age group. And I'm learning all of these things that are just going from a competent and competent nurse to somebody that's surrounded by even more confident and competent nurses. I was humbled. I was incredibly humbled. And I was like, well, we're all on this journey together, so we all have to be friends.
That is so true, because not to knock nurse, there is a little bit of a melting pot, I think, sometimes when it comes to nursing. And when you are in school for your doctorate degree, you're like, oh, everybody around me is like very smart, very successful.
Because
Oh.
like when we're working and we're surrounded by all of our, nurse clinician colleagues, they're like, "Oh, you're so smart. You're going back to get your doctorate." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But when you're in the classroom setting,
You're
like
like,
all of these
am
people
I
are
the
getting the
dumbest
doctorate.
person
I am the
around
dumbest
me?
person in this classroom.
I'm sure
Oh,
everybody has imposter
exactly.
syndrome, I'm sure, like the first day.
Exactly. Yeah,
What
I
was
was
the
like, I
first,
am not supposed to be here.
yeah, that just made me think, like, what was that first day like? Do you remember that first
Oh
day?
man, that first day, let's see, back in the fall semester. Yes, let me talk about it. So my program is my program is built. I'm in a BSN to DNP program and it's accelerated. So I have
Okay.
master's classes and doctorate classes at the same time, which are intertwined with people that are just getting their master's or just getting their doctorate. So some people
Okay.
in my doctorate courses are already nurse practitioners. So to even humble
Mm.
me more, um, but that first
Okay.
day, that first day, I was in master's courses of like a research and biostats course and pathophysiology. And
Fun.
I was also in two doctorate courses, technology and a seminar. So I just remember being in those courses. The master's courses of pharmacology and research and biostats were hitting me mentally in the content area. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I have to learn all of these new things because I'm
Yeah.
not the best in pharmacology. And, I need to just learn all these new things. And research and biostats, who's good at math?
Mm.
No one.
Let's all be honest. We got C's
Let's
and
be honest.
statistics. That's how we're in nursing school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being able to interpret that was a challenge in itself. But when I got to those doctorate classes, when I haven't even become a nurse practitioner yet, I didn't even have my master's yet, and I'm with these other students that have their masters and other people have MBAs, and I'm just
Yeah.
like I cannot believe this. So that's when my true imposter syndrome really set in that first day. I said,
Yeah.
I am not supposed to be here. I
Oh
am
my
not supposed to be
gosh.
here. But
I would
I
be the
put that
same way.
deposit down, so I am supposed to be
Yeah,
here.
I really though I am.
Yeah. No
Oh
takes
my
these
god.
backseat.
Yeah, right. I paid for this degree.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. That is,
So
yeah,
funny.
I would be in the same boat. I would do the same exact thing. I was like, when you said research and biostats, like, what even is biostats? Is that like like learning how to read studies?
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what it is. We get handed all of these articles, and you don't actually do math in the class. You just have to learn how to interpret the math.
Yeah.
So that was a fun find to have to not do math in that course. But
I actually feel like this is a little off topic, but not really. But I feel like it would behoove nurses so much to be able to learn how to read studies. Like, I don't
yes,
want to have to go get my doctorate in order to learn how to know what a good study
exactly.
is. Like, I would
Yes.
love for that to like make its way into like bachelor's nursing.
Yeah, seriously, bachelor's or even competencies when you get to your whatever hospital you're working at, just having, because a lot of program or hospitals have nurse residency programs now.
Yeah.
So maybe throwing that in so you can at least get paid for it
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of paying
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
it. So, but yeah, definitely that's a good idea to make it
That's
a.
so true because like there's so much harp on evidence-based practice and it's like
Mhm.
but if you don't know how to like read the
Okay.
studies that you're and sometimes they're just really
Exactly.
complicated and like bad studies look like good studies until you like are able to
Exactly.
analyze what the and it's like I don't even know when I say that I don't even know what I'm talking about because like
Yeah.
I don't I can't tell the difference. So
I
yeah.
know. I know it's really important to pick a study that is actually credible. So that is what
Yeah.
I've learned. Um,
So that was like one of your like day one courses. Did you just like hit the ground running? Like they were just like, okay, we're getting right into all the content. There was no like syllabus day.
I was
Where-
gonna say, luckily, I'm so blessed because the first week of my fall semester. So it's kind of when all the new students are coming in. We
Mm.
kind of had a syllabus week just
Oh,
to kind
okay.
of get acclimated with the parking and
Okay.
where people like the academic portal. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot say the same. I didn't receive the same grace for spring semester because
They're
everyone knew
y'all
where to
know where to
park.
park.
Yeah. Can't pull that on us again. So first day we hit the ground running and I was like, whoa, did not prepare for this.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
we made it through. Yeah, the first week of the spring semester was definitely tough. But the fall semester, we kind of eased into it.
What do you think are some of the biggest differences between when you think about what undergrad was like versus what grad school has been like so far?
Oh, let's see. So undergrad, I'm lucky enough to go to the same undergrad and graduate school. So my
Okay.
undergrad experience was very heavily focused on the social life. So I didn't
Yeah.
really focus on, the academics. But, we did well. We did well. We made
Yeah, we're here.
it through. We're here. We passed the NCLEX. That's what
Yeah,
matters.
right.
So with undergraduate, I feel like we were so focused on tangible things to turn in. We had all of these
Mm,
papers that I had to write on, I don't want to say silly topics, but I'm going to say silly topics. And all of these just assignments that were kind of made up just so we could turn something in.
sure.
And then more in graduate school. First of all, in graduate school, my social life has turned into like doing laundry and beating the community grocery rush.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I'm focused on now. But in graduate school is more discussion based. So they will hand you
Mm,
articles and stuff to kind of guide the class. But truly, as I mentioned earlier, I'm surrounded by so many people that have so much more experience than me. And I'm
sure.
learning from the professor, but I'm also learning around the people around me. I'm not
Yeah.
entering this program with people around the same age as me or not even knowing what an NG tube is. These people probably invented the NG tube that are around
Yeah.
me. So it's
Right.
just like, I'm blown away by how much I'm learning, but in a different way than undergrad through
Yeah.
discussions.
So, what is graded then?
Participation. And when I first read that on the syllabus, it says, 15% participation. I was like, oh, great. I just have to show up, show
Yeah.
up and sit down and, vibe, listen to the PowerPoints. But absolutely incorrect. You have to actually participate. I learned that in my first semester and I got a few dings off when I was just sitting, but
Ah,
you truly participate and in discussion and you go to things outside of class. You don't have to. That's kind of like extra credit participation. But
mm,
when you show up and it's very evident that you're reading the materials that they send out to you and you're just
okay.
engaging in conversation,
So it's a
that's
lot
a
more
big grade.
subjective. It sounds like it's
Hmm.
a lot more subjective than concrete. Like you have to do this prompt and like I'm going to grade you on that.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah, sometimes we don't even go over the readings that were assigned to us. We'll just talk about whatever we want to, and I'm like, this
Really?
is so fun.
Do you ever pull in things that are happening at work? Like, I guess, well, it probably depends on the class, but like, do you feel like you see something at work and you're able to like talk about it in class, or like,
Mhm.
do they overlap at all? Or do you feel like you're, learning something completely different than like what you're seeing in clinical at work? I mean,
In actual work, yeah, it definitely overlaps, and it's so amazing to hear everybody else's stories after they have worked that week, and then we come back to discussion, and we spend about an hour just talking about all of the crazy patient medical stories that we have heard and
yeah.
relating that to, you know, what happened and what we can do to better that patient care. And
Wow.
hearing all of these stories surrounding me, I'm like, this is because then I hear them and then I implement that back to work when I'm
Yeah.
working. So
So
I think it's just awesome.
that's like part of your coursework then to apply what you're currently seeing at work.
Hmm.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It is, and then I have a colleague at work who we were talking about a certain procedure, and I knew it wasn't evidence-based. So that's when I pulled in those articles and I totally did a journal search. And I was like, look at these articles, you've been doing it wrong. It was more
Yes.
it was more of like a just being kind of a goofy moment, but it was really silly to see that I actually am doing what I'm learning in class.
That's so, I mean, that's the whole, I think, benefit to having nurses that are in school because you're constantly being forced to like look at evidence and
Yeah.
data and stuff. And we're like, actually, I'm improving the unit that I'm on while I am.
Improving myself. Yeah.
Yes, right. So let's backtrack. Like, tell me about what it was like to apply or like how you get started even to, from like searching different DNP programs to like, getting accepted. What was that like?
Yes, that is a whole experience. So, in my personal experience was quite a journey. But most programs, like we said, require a statistics course. So definitely want to get that guy in within 5 years. Even if you don't plan on applying the next year, just do it. It's
Within 5 years? So like
yes,
so you have to take a second. I'm like over my words because I don't want to take a statistics course again. Dang.
yeah.
Okay.
So most programs that I have looked at, they have to have a statistics class within 5 years of applying. And then pretty standard to have three references, one usually academic and then two professional.
Okay.
Um, but actually applying to that and getting those kind of checks and balances within line was long and just a horrible waiting process
Yeah.
because it just takes forever to wait for references to get in, for the application to get put
Mm,
in, and then so it was like a year long application. I applied to I think about five schools, but
wow. And each
it
of
was
them like
tough.
cost a little bit of money to apply, right?
Yes, each application. So there's a lot of hidden money everywhere in there. You have your application that's like $80. You have your stats class that you have to retake. That's about it was like $500 that I just had to pay out of pocket. Had to pick up
Oh,
a crisis shift for that one, and then
yeah, right.
and then just then schmoozing all the people that you need a reference for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I'm thinking if you need one academic one, then you have to go back to like the people, like professors from nursing school from your bachelor's, I would say, unless you
exactly.
want your statistics professor to give you a.
I know. That, luckily, so I'm within kind of the range of my professors still might know who I am. So I reached out to them
Yeah.
but for the people that are a little bit more mature than I am in the nursing world, I can figure that that could be a challenge finding like
Right.
one of your
Remember me?
professors. Remember me? I
Remember me
sat in the back.
thousands of students ago? Come back. Can you write me a
Exactly.
recommendation?
You can just copy paste from Google. Put my name
Yeah.
at the
Right.
end.
I already wrote it. I just need you
Yeah.
to like put your name on it. And, you know. Oh
Oh
man.
my
And then two
goodness.
professional ones. Does it have to be like management or it can be any like just like a
It can,
coworker?
yeah, it can be a coworker. Since I was going into a nurse practitioner or like a family nurse practitioner doctorate program, I picked two nurse practitioners.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I did. I mean, you can pick whoever you want. You can pick a manager or things like that. I know a lot of my colleagues picked their management team.
Okay.
Mm.
So the court the school that you're currently in, it's a hybrid school. It's a master's and your DNP.
hmm They have
Okay.
different types of programs. So there's a regular full-time doctorate program or the accelerated program, which is 3 years.
What's the normal length of time for
4 years. 2
4 years?
years master's and 2 years doctorate. So I'm
Okay.
gonna knock that all out in 3 years,
And would
hopefully.
they, yeah, you got a little wiggle room in there, right? It doesn't
Yeah, I
have
know.
to
I
be
can always go
accelerated.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can always go back one.
Yeah. Um, What does so we talked a little bit about the courses that you started like on day one. What is the rest of the course? What is the course content, I guess, for a DNP program?
For a DNP program, so in my first semester, that's when I had the majority of my doctorate classes, or at least two of them to get the ball rolling. They were asynchronous hybrid. So the majority of them were discussions online, but then once a month we would all meet with each other in a classroom, and then we would have a huge discussion that was like 3 hours long.
Oh my
But you only
gosh.
got to do that once a month, so I was like, this is okay. This is okay. But my master's courses, I have to, so for example, this semester, I go into class Tuesday or Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay.
Thursdays is our health assessment lecture and health assessment lab. And then on Friday, that is my most taxing day because I have a nursing history class that is 3 hours from 8 a.m. to 11
Oh,
on a Friday, talking about nursing history.
oh my gosh.
And
Like,
and
what
then
about nursing history? Like Florence Nightingale?
Florence Nightingale and the history of the theorists of nursing. My professor is so wonderful, but it's so long and it's at 8
Yeah.
a.m. in the morning.
That is, oh man.
Oh, and then I have pharmacology at from like 2 to 5, so I can't. I'm
Brutal.
done. I'm done. I was like, is
Fridays
this
are
this is
brutal.
hazing? This is
This
hazing.
is, oh my gosh. That's awful. I
Yeah.
remember what I was going to say. So do most people, they don't work while they're in the program? Like, does it allow you to work at the same time, or is it normally, are most people just full-time students?
Most people actually, I have noticed, are part-time students and then they work full-time. Otherwise,
Oh, okay.
people that are working or that are in school for full-time, they cut back on their hours and probably just work part-time.
Okay.
In my experience, since I am an accelerated person, I
Yeah.
only work once a week. I'm PRN as needed. I work every Monday is when I'm scheduled to work.
Okay. Okay.
And then classes Thursday, Friday.
So okay. So are people in your program part-time, like they're part-time students in an accelerated program, or are they normally doing like
They are, so this gets a little tricky in my program because I'm accelerated, but the person next to me could be part-time, and then the
okay,
person next to me could be a full-time doctorate student or a full-time master's student or a part-time master's student. It's
interesting.
like everyone is different and at different points in their
Okay.
curriculum. So I
Hmm.
could be sitting here crying tears because I have so many assignments that I have to get done, and the person next to me is just chilling because they're
They
only
just have
taking two
one.
courses. And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
I wish I was
So
you.
so you won't necessarily, like, the people that you start DNP school with, you won't necessarily graduate. You won't graduate all at the same time.
Correct.
Mm.
There might be like a handful of people. Like I can count like four on my hands that I might walk the graduation thing with.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Does that make it kind of like a tight knit group, like those four, like the four of you?
I think so. And then especially in my master's program, I'm in family nursing practice or the nurse practitioner for family medicine, and that group also becomes kind of tight knit because we're all in health assessment right now. We're all in
Mm.
pharmacology right now. And then in pharmacology, there's a separate seminar associated with it for only family nurse practitioners where we focus on medications that will most likely be prescribing.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
all together again, and that's a group of 10 of us, and we've all become pretty close as well. But that's probably the last time I will be working with them as we'll move on. But it's been a good semester so far, getting to know
Yeah.
them, making
That,
connections.
so you're going for your FNP, but then
Correct.
with a doctorate. So what made you want to kind of go that route? Like, why did you choose to get like a DNP on top of that instead of
DNP.
just your master's?
Yeah, absolutely. I chose a DNP versus obtaining my master's just because I want to move or I want to function at the top of my game within the field of nursing.
Yeah.
And because it's offered, I'm going to go for it. And because I'm going to school, I might as well just knock it all out to
Yeah.
the best of my ability. But just everything I'm learning in this program and the relationships definitely, like we've mentioned, improve my patient care that I'm working with currently.
Mm.
And I just want to help advance the field of nursing because, I love nursing so much, and I would love to mentor new nurses and eventually work in academics myself.
Oh,
And
cool.
just to build that credibility of having, a doctor in front of your name and the DNP behind it, to show those students that I can do it and you can do it too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Absolutely. That is, so do you think that is your goal academia, or like, do you think that what do you want to do with your FNP after school?
Yes, with my FNP, I currently work in critical care, but as we talked about, I did labor and delivery, mother baby before, and I would love to go back to working maybe in an OBGYN clinic after I graduate. So I think
Cool.
that I love pregnant people. They are my favorite. They're my favorite population to take care of. So I'm hoping to work
Oh,
in an OBGYN clinic when I graduate, and then just help out those new mamas.
do you have is there like if you want to specialize in something, is there an avenue for that in your schooling?
Not the schooling of FNP is kind of just generalized. However,
Okay.
when you are in the clinical placements, you get to choose which clinical
Mm,
placements you want. So I'm
okay.
going to kind of take some student health and some family medicine or internal medicine placements, but I'm going to more focus on OBGYN, infertility, things of that nature, just so I can have more experience in that when I graduate and
Yeah.
gain connections for when I graduate. So hopefully I can get a job.
Yeah. I've heard that whole process of like finding clinical or a clinic to go to, or have heard that that's difficult. Finding somebody to like shadow,
Precept you. Yeah,
precept. Yeah.
that is difficult. I'm currently going through that rough journey right now. And
Where in school does that land, that whole process?
that is about at second year. So
Okay.
I'm in first year. Second year is all clinicals because after 2 years of my 3 year program, I graduate with my nurse practitioner degree.
Okay.
It's 2 years nurse practitioner, and then my last year is fully doctorate program.
Okay.
So I will be an NP next spring if I pass all my things. But so that, yeah, second year, that's when you start applying for all that stuff.
Okay.
It's rough.
Do you have to, will you like walk to get that degree in the middle of like still continuing to get your doctorate, or is it all at the end?
Probably. You can walk to get your degree. You can. You get this My school hands out these giant degrees, which I love because I'm like, I truly paid for that. So so it's just massive diploma. And so I get that after my second year. And you can walk. I'll see how I'm feeling how I'm feeling that year. But my true walk of like accomplishments will be after my doctorate, I think.
Yeah.
And then I'll get another big diploma. So I'll just have three huge
Just
diplomas.
there.
Just wow. Just like a new wallpaper. Yeah.
Yes, right. Make sure they're on your YouTube channel, like in the
Yeah,
background,
yeah,
casually, like,
yeah,
step into my
yeah.
house. Look how
So
smart I
I went to
am.
school, yeah,
Yeah.
4 times. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
last year in fully doctorate, what does that look like?
That is a lot of library time for you to get your project done. Your
Mm,
project is the
okay.
huge thing of the doctorate program where you have to come up with this basically a clinical solution to apply and try to implement it and research it. It's a huge like research project, and I have no idea what my topic is going to be yet. Most
Yeah.
likely something to do with OBGYN, but TBD on that one. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Do they
yeah,
do
that's
they
all third year.
tell you to start like brainstorming that and thinking of it like now? And
Yes,
then,
they start or they try to get you started brainstorming. And then if you're really having a hard time, they actually give you some very good ideas to get you started if you're really
just do
lost.
this. Just, this
Yeah.
is a big problem in the
Yeah,
hospital system. Just do
exactly.
this.
Literally, our hospital, so our school is connected to a hospital system, and they're like, here are the problems in our hospital, so you can fix them.
That's actually, that's,
And I'm like, show me the list, I'll do it right now.
yeah, right. Oh, so then, so gosh, so that's a whole year of just really research and
And
I
more
mean, because
statistics.
that's what your doctorate is for the most part, right? It's all
Hmm.
just like elevating the advanced practice degree that you currently have. So it's like there's probably
Hmm.
no clinical in the
Exactly.
doctorate.
Yes,
Mm,
it's very key point to know that the doctorate nursing program is not a role changing degree. It is an academic degree. So I won't be
mm,
able, so if, because you can get a doctorate and not be a nurse practitioner. You can be
yeah,
a nurse specialist, you can be a nurse anesthetist, you can be
sure.
a midwife. You don't have to be a nurse practitioner. So it's an academic degree to fully function of your nurse.
Okay, gotcha. And that project, so I've heard horror stories that it's like a 1,000-page document that you have to like
Yes.
come up with. How
I
true is that?
know. Pretty true. Pretty true.
Oh no.
I know. I'm like, ugh. We'll see when we get there. But we started talking about it and or listening to students that are about to graduate going through that process and
Mm.
them saying that they need to get, their project published. Published. That's published.
Like I
That's
gotta really
scary.
make this sound good. This is gonna
Yeah.
be out there.
I know. I'm just surrounded by so many like scholars that I'm just like published. We'll make
Oh,
it happen.
yeah. Well,
So,
I'm sure, and you'll probably go like by the time that rolls around, then your program is going to be a lot smaller, I imagine.
hmm
And so you'll be able
exactly.
to like, go through that process with like a smaller group of people.
hmm And just be able to focus on the huge project at hand and not have to worry about, sitting in a 3 hour nursing history class, on the
Yeah.
side. So just being able to focus on that huge project milestone will be really helpful in the last year.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that's like. Like, I think the one person that I knew that was getting her, I think she was getting her doctorate, and it was about like, I think like organization within a
Wow.
unit. And it was like, she kind of spearheaded a way to, like stock supplies and stuff. And like,
Wow.
so I can't imagine. I mean, so she probably had to like research what is being done, what's already out there, and then
Mhm.
come up with a system on her own, or maybe like
Yeah.
implement something from like a different. But like, I don't know if I could write
I know. Writing is hard. Yeah,
all
all of
of
that.
the
Yeah.
pages that it takes to write. Like,
Especially in like research writings, you have to write down every single thing. You can't, even though your audience probably knows what you're talking about, but you still have to write out every single detail.
yeah,
It's it's tough. It is
yeah.
tough, but
Oh,
it's long.
do
But
you
it's
have
worth it. It'll
any
be worth it at the end.
Do you have any like ideas of like things that you want to do? Or I know you said OBGYN, and I know you said that you don't know what you're
Yes.
doing, but
I know. But I'm a liar because I do think I have an idea. I think I really want to implement kind of a critical care obstetrics like response team or getting the
Hmm.
mother, baby, and labor and delivery nurses more critical care thinking experience to if there was an emergency outside of having a baby is not an emergency, but it can be. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but other things outside of having a baby, if you're dealing with like a high risk pregnancy and something goes down, just kind of how to gauge that. And
Yeah.
then on the other side, helping my critical care nurses with pregnant patients, because, those can be scary.
Yes. Oh, for
Very
sure. I
scary.
think
Hmm.
just in general, like the integration of different disciplines within each other so that there's a better understanding of them, I think that that is so important.
Yeah,
Like,
so important. Very
because
helpful.
you use different skills and different. I've thought of maybe this would be a good if anybody is looking for a
A
dissertation
topic. Yeah.
topic, but I think of the lack of communication between doctors and nurses all the time. And I think it would be so great to see some kind of preceptor or shadowing experience, some type of
Yes.
like program so that we have a better understanding of each other and each other's days. And I think that that would foster respect and like
So
open
much, yes.
communication. And it would just be so, I would love to see somebody do that somewhere.
And I tried, not at a doctorate level like coursing thing to do, but when I first started um, my nursing career as a bachelor's level nurse, I said, "Can I shadow the doctors for a day to see what they do and
Yeah.
like understand why they're not answering my pages?" They're
Yes.
in labor and delivery. So then I realized they're doing C-sections like all morning, and I'm like, okay, that makes.
Yeah. So like this colace like can wait, I guess.
Yeah, right. With Colace and like the 325 of Tylenol I can wait, an extra 15 minutes. But but then on the flip side, so they can shadow me as well to know that, I might not get their thing right away because I have to do all of these other things too.
Yes. I think it would be so beneficial to have something like that. And it's just like you talking about integrating critical care with labor and delivery and like vice versa. I think that it just fosters better care when you know more about like what to expect in a situation and you're more
Exactly.
comfortable. Yeah, that could be a great one.
Hopeful. We're hopeful here. So I don't know, maybe you'll see me in a publication.
Yeah, there you go. We'll promote it. We'll promote it on the
Yeah.
podcast.
We'll come back here.
Yes. Seriously, maybe we should have you back on when we're like when you're done with the DNP program and you're like
Yes.
looking back and like I
And I
can't
have my
imagine.
degrees in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
Look, I did
There we
it.
go. There we go. Well, do you have any advice for people that are thinking about going into DNP programs or, things that you maybe wish you would have known, like last fall going into?
Uh, yes, so much advice. So, whoever's watching this, I want you to take notes right now because there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect time to apply to graduate school. Life
Mm,
throws things at us all the time. There will just never be a perfect time. The thing is, you just have to make that timing perfect and apply to that schooling and show up. And then whatever life throws at you, just adapt it to the graduate program that you're already in.
mm.
So do that statistics course. Do that
Just
statistics
get
course.
that done.
Just
Figure out
get
where you're
it
going to
over
take
with.
it. Is it
If
any
you're
statistics course? Is it like, can you just like go to any school and like get those
take
credits?
one, most most programs, again, I've noticed on their application websites, they have approved
Mm,
statistics courses that you can take.
okay.
And they almost always have an associated community college with the
Hmm.
exact course number so you don't mess it up or take the wrong one. I accidentally took the
Oh
wrong
my,
chemistry when I was applying. I took chemistry for engineers. That's how I have an associate's in
no.
engineering.
Just a little side
Just,
plug.
yeah,
I
yeah,
dabble in this a little
yeah.
bit.
Why is this so hard?
I did that in my undergrad with macroeconomics. I wanted to know about
Oh
my
yeah,
finances.
yeah.
No, it was like
No,
supply demand. I was like drowning the whole
uh,
time. I had no idea. My
uh,
brain did not
yeah,
think like that. And I got a B in the class,
yeah.
but I was like, that
Good,
was
good.
completely pointless. And
Completely
I was
pointless.
so stressed out the whole semester because I just could not, I didn't understand anything what was going on.
anything.
Yeah, get the
Man,
course number. That's good
get the
advice.
course number to make sure you're taking the right course. And then another thing for advice is no matter where you're working right now, start schmoozing your mentors so they can write you
Mm,
genuine recommendations. So you can
okay.
get some three solid recommendations that you can send in because
Mm,
those matter because what other people are saying about you is a huge reflection of yourself. So
yeah.
get some good ones, start schmoozing. Always put your best foot forward in whatever job you're doing right now. So you show people in the future that you're already killing it wherever you're at. You know?
Yeah.
Also get a certification.
Mm,
Most college programs don't expect you, not expect you, but don't require one. They don't require one, but
hmm.
it is such an up on your resume because it's
Yeah.
not only kind of just showing that you're credible in whatever field that you're in, but it's also showing your willingness to learn and improve in your career.
Mm,
And big, big key point on learning because you're going to have to do that all throughout the program so that
yeah.
they're looking that you are already excelling in what you're doing right now
Yeah.
um, by just receiving a certification. So that's a big characteristic that they can see just by that
And
certification.
I'm sure that it just even because I have a certification in neuroscience but I'm sure like it helps that because you don't have to relearn it in school. You know, like
Exactly.
some of the I'm sure we were talking about imposter syndrome in the beginning of this episode and it's like I
Mhm.
can't imagine if you're like trying to learn some of those things that you could have learned with like a critical care certification
Exactly. And
and then on
something
top of
so
everything
silly on
else.
that. Yes, I knew I was accepted into the program, and I actually didn't have a certification when I applied and got accepted, but I wanted to get my certification, just as you mentioned. I kept calling it a pregame because it's just
Yeah.
it's a pregame, so you're just like bolus studying all of this stuff, and mine's in my CCRN, so it's all basically medical things. And
Yeah.
I had pathophysiology that fall, and I remember I just learned that a couple months ago when I was studying for my CCRN, so it's not foreign news to me because I just
Yeah.
read about it a couple months ago. So that
Yeah.
was really helpful too. Like also certification for a pregame, pregame
Yes.
for your program.
That is
Oh,
all very good advice.
yes.
Awesome.
And then most importantly, just be comfortable with becoming uncomfortable because I'm uncomfortable most
Mm,
every single course that I am entered into. I again am surrounded by all of these intelligent scholars and I feel so much like I'm not supposed to be there, but if you're not uncomfortable, you're not learning. So just know that, and then that's normal and that's valid, and keep going.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, just like we were in nursing school to get our nursing license, I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there, and now look at us.
Yeah.
And now we're just not now look at us. So you're just reverting back to that, and then
Yeah.
you'll get to that point again where I'm gonna watch this video in a couple years and be like, now look at me.
With all my degrees.
Yeah, with all my wallpaper of degrees.
Yeah, I would definitely say like give yourself some grace like when
Hmm.
you're going through and feeling like you know nothing because you're there for a reason and
Exactly.
I'm sure the process, the whole like admission process is very selective. So you're there for
Yes,
a reason and you know you can
exactly.
do it and yeah, you should be
Yeah.
very proud of yourself, Allison.
Very, thank you.
Yeah.
I am very proud now that I've gotten over that admission barrier. Like now
Yeah.
that I'm in the program, I'm like, yes. Now that I'm past fall semester, truly, I am like, I am meant to be here. These are my people. This is what I'm meant to do. So I got all over those initial feelings, and now we're just rocking and rolling. We're getting
Awesome.
through it.
Oh, well, good luck with the rest of your
Thank
schooling, and I
you.
can't wait to hear. We're gonna have to have you on again, like I
I
said, and we'll talk about
know.
the aftermath, and you can
Yeah.
like, you know,
I
just
might
be
have like some
relaxed.
more
And
eye bags.
yeah, you look gaunt and broken,
Yeah.
but so
I thought
smart.
it was worth it.
Yeah. All right, Allyson.
That's
Well,
funny.
where can we find you? Where can people follow your journey and yeah,
Oh,
all of your
so many
things?
places. I have an Instagram. It's just Allyson Pennington, spelled two L's and a Y, because I have an exotic name. And I have my coffee Instagram as well, which is Ollie P Cafe. And then, most importantly, my new thing that I'm doing is a YouTube channel, and that is also just Allyson Pennington here on YouTube.
Awesome. All right, Allyson. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me about this. It was such a fun
Absolutely,
conversation.
yeah.
All right, girl. Well, I will talk to you
Absolutely.
soon then.
All right. Talk to you soon,
Bye.
Maggie.
That brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in to Nursing Uncharted. To learn more about today's episode, make sure to explore the show notes at americanmobile.com/nursinguncharted. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a guest. If you're a nurse interested in traveling, visit americanmobile.com to explore the largest database of travel nursing jobs in the industry and the amazing benefits that American Mobile has to offer. Also, a special thanks to producer Jonathan Carey, assistant producers Katie Schraubman and Sam McKay, and Aiden Dykes for the music and editing. Until next time, take care of yourself.